purpose does Mr. Massie seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the
I
desk.
reserve a point of order,
The
Mr.
clerk
Chairman.
will report the amendment, and the clerk, point of order is reserved.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to HR 2377, offered by Mr. Massie of Kentucky, page 24, line
Without
6.
objection, the amendment is considered as read, and the gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes to explain his amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is a very simple amendment, and it's just common sense, I believe. The underlying bill itself has an annual reporting requirement to report on the number of red flag orders or extreme risk protection orders by race, ethnicity, national origin, sex, gender, age, disability, and English language proficiency. I presume this report is required in the bill to make sure that there are not racial disparities in the right to bear arms as a consequence of these red flag laws. And it's right to include these reports in the underlying bill. And so therefore it would also be correct and advisable to have this same report issued by the Attorney General on the National Instant Criminal Background Check System. So what my amendment does is it says, in addition to issuing this annual report on the various effects across race, ethnicity, sex, age, disability, in addition to doing that for the red flag laws, that we should do that for the NICS, the National Instant Background Check System, to make sure that we don't have racial disparities there. Now, we already actually know there are racial disparities there. The data that we have shows that African-American males are 3 times more likely to be denied the purchase of a firearm at the first point of the check, and falsely, in fact. And the same, and Hispanic males are twice as likely, with respect to Caucasian males, to be falsely denied in the NICS instant background check system. So we need to get these numbers. We need to figure out how this is happening and how to keep it from happening. And I'm afraid it's probably going to happen in the red flag laws. So it's right that the underlying bill has this report in the red flag laws, but we also need to have the same report in the NICS report. There's one other thing that my amendment does. The categories that are listed for red flag laws in the report include race, ethnicity, national origin, sex, gender, age, disability, and English language proficiency. But I think it should also include average annual income. As Mr. Stubbe wisely pointed out, and that his amendment sought to fix, these things, every one of these laws has a disparate effect and impact on low-income individuals, regardless of race or ethnicity or sex. The threshold that is required, you have to upfront the money, you have to try to take time away from work. Even if there was no money involved and no lawyers involved and no filing fees, just the time away from work is an opportunity cost that many low-income individuals cannot afford. So I think we should also include average annual income as a category in these reports, both for red flag laws and for the NICS report. And with that, I will yield back the balance of my time.
Mr. Chairman,
Does the gentlelady insist on her point of order?
Mr. Chairman, I do insist on my point of order. The report requested is not germane. It is dealing with the NICS on a very broad question of a myriad of demographic factors. I do appreciate the gentleman's concern about race, and I hope that we'll have an opportunity to discuss other race-based discrimination. But in the instance of this legislation, this is about red flag laws. It is not about the extensive report under NICS, and so I insist on my point of order, Mr. Chairman.
I agree with the point of order. I will point. The NICS report is beyond the scope of the bill, and therefore is out of order. The first 2 amendments, however, the first 2 parts of the amendment, however, inserting average annual income are in order, and I would accept them if the gentleman, I would accept them as amendments if the gentleman would agree to separate.
I will agree to withdraw this amendment and substitute another amendment that should also be at the desk, which includes the two provisions that the chairman has agreed to include, which would insert average annual income as a reporting category.
Would it do anything else? All right,
I would like,
fine.
I'm sorry.
The amendment is withdrawn. The clerk will report the next amendment. Point of order is reserved.
Amendment to the amendment in the nature of a substitute to HR 2377, offered by Mr. Massie of Kentucky. Page 24, line 6, insert after disability the following: average annual income.
Without objection, the amendment is considered as read. The gentleman is recognized for 5 minutes to explain his amendment.
this amendment is very simple. Look, the underlying bill includes reports based on race, ethnicity, national origin, sex, gender, age, disability, average annual, English language proficiency. This would add average annual income as a reporting category, and that is necessary, just like the other categories are necessary. And we know in the NICS
Would the gentleman
background
yield?
check system.
Would the gentleman yield?
I would yield to the chairman.
We will accept this amendment. We have no reason to oppose it. We will accept this amendment.
I withdraw my
Well,
point
the
of
point
order.
of order is withdrawn.
Chairman, if you,
Point of order is withdrawn, and we accept the amendment.
Well, they say when you have to sell, quit selling, but I'd like to keep selling if I may.
Gentleman has the floor.
All right, reclaiming my time. I think this is an important category to include, and I appreciate the chairman recognizing that. The reason these reports are important, and the reason that I think we also need these reports for the instant background check system, is we do know there is racial disparity in the application of this law. It's not intended, but there are things that could be done to prevent the racial disparity, like in the instant background check system. We could use something other than similar spelling of names and similar birthdays to check. And all of these laws have underlying implications. The ramifications are that they are racially disparate in the outcomes. They are going to be disparate also in the outcomes for income. And these are some of the most regressive laws that we could put on the books. It's especially concerning because this is a fundamental constitutional right as ruled by the Supreme Court and is laid out by founding fathers. And your income should have no effect on your ability to keep and bear arms. When we see fees charged, for instance, to get a concealed carry permit, if you have a state that has a fee that's $100 or more, we see that concealed carry permits are issued far less frequently, not to the people who can afford it, but to the people who can't afford it. So income disparity is a very important category, and I'm glad that the chairman recognizes the importance of reporting this, and I hope that what they will find out, of course, I hope this bill does not pass. I'm going to vote against it, but I hope what we find out from these reports will tell us that these laws have a racial and income disparity in terms of their application, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. I hope we can go to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and I hope no one will call a roll call vote. The amendment is agreed to.